سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح تنهد يا صاحي كي تستريح.
Alumni as well, and he's talking about the topic of brotherhood and sisterhood. Leave it up to Marjan and Instagram, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم ولا تلمزوا أنفسكم ولا تنابزوا بالألقاب بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان. بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان. بئس الاسم الفسوق بعد الإيمان ومن لم يتب فأولئك هم الظالمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم ولا تجسسوا ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا. أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه واتقوا الله إن الله تواب رحيم. واتقوا الله إن الله هو التواب الرحيم. صدق الله العظيم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. A little bit of background about myself. So as he mentioned, I did graduate from Cass Tech, class of 2013. Right now I'm attending University of Michigan, Dearborn. I'm currently a senior pursuing a dual degree in mechanical and biomedical engineering, and I just came from class right now. So if you guys have any other questions pertaining to academics, you guys can ask me that after the lecture, inshallah. When I was in high school, when I was in Cass Tech, the MSA was the last thing on my mind. So there were like events we tried to hold. We didn't even have anything like this of the sort, like where an actual speaker comes in and gives a talk. And even if we did, I wouldn't have come. So I was the guy basically who Tasdeeq was trying to find and say, hey, come by, and I was trying to avoid Tasdeeq the entire time. Right? I actually had a friend, his name was Alzheimer, and he was actually like, he would come, and I knew that maybe, oh my God, they have an MSA meeting today, I don't want Alzheimer to see me. So I would go down these stairs, because Alzheimer would go down those stairs. So avoid Alzheimer, right? But now we're really good friends, alhamdulillah. But that's the kind of youth I was when I was in high school, right? This was kind of my thing. But then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides whom He wills, and then we still all need to be guided throughout the process. But here I am today talking to Castec MSA, a room that I probably avoided years back, right? And that's how life kind of works. We don't really expect what's going to happen later on. We think everything that we're doing is correct in the moment because we're so focused in the present, right? But then something happens, and you can stop right now and reflect. Think 3 years ago. If you're a senior, think when you were a freshman here. If you were a junior, think when you were a freshman. If you're a freshman here, think when you were in middle school, right? I wasn't even planning on coming to Castec. I was actually a transfer student from Hamtramck High School. So I went there 9th grade, and then I transferred here for 10th grade. So 10th grade, so Castec wasn't even in my mind. Forget MSA, forget everything. But then Castec led to everything that I am right now. And that's how life works for everybody, right? I just want to give a little bit of a background for myself, because I feel like if I just come in here, I start talking, people are like, who is this guy? I don't really know him. I have no background on him. He says he's from here. Does he really know anyone here? So it's nice to make yourself familiar with the speaker, because I think that's important for the audience and the speaker himself. Moving forward, I heard that you guys are having final exams soon. Is that true? When are the final exams?
Thursday.
This Thursday? I thought it was 2 weeks. Oh, it's 2 days from now. Okay, sorry. So, who is not ready for the final exam so far? Okay. All right. That's like half the guys, at least, maybe more. So a lot of us are not ready for the final exam, right? But we know it's in 2 days. Let's just keep this in the back of our head right now. We'll come back to visit this later. Because when did we know what the days of final exams are? The beginning of the semester, right? Did they tell you what day of final exam is going to be?
No, until like
When did they tell you guys?
last week.
They tell you 1 week ahead?
That's when I found out.
Teachers don't even know until the day.
So who's a senior here? Okay, I'll ask you. So when you were a junior here, did they have the same pattern of final exams?
Thank you.
Like, did they have final exams in January around this time?
Yeah.
So there's a pattern to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a senior here, junior here, even a sophomore here, you know there's a pattern to when final exams would be. If you're a freshman, you can ask and find out. So even then, you kind of know it's coming up towards the end of January. So then you kind of know it's there. To say, well, I just found out a week ago is really not an excuse, because everybody knows that there's an exam coming up towards the end of January. Let's just keep that in the back of our mind. There's a hadith that says, the Sahih hadith, Sahih narration, authentic narration, which says that Rasulullah ﷺ said that none of you truly believe until, I'm sure you guys have heard this before. If not, this will be your first time hearing it. None of you truly believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Right? What does that really mean? To love for your brother what you love for yourself. Let's forget brother or sister in this situation. Of course, in this case, you love for your sister what you love for yourself, for the girls, and for the brothers, the brothers. Now, let's think about it. Let's take away brothers and sisters. Let's put somebody else in the picture. Who has younger siblings? A lot of people have younger siblings. And and also we have parents as well. And for those of us who don't have parents, but if you have parents or younger siblings, it's easy to have more affection towards them, right? Meaning, for your best friend, you might have this sense of feeling, but for your mom or your dad, you'll have a stronger feeling, right? You might go out of your way to do something for your mom or your dad. Actually, in today's society, we kind of forget that. We kind of like shun our parents. That's something we should address. But for the small moments that we do remember them, we have this huge, immense feeling. Like, okay, so when I was in middle school and high school, the whole, oh, your mom, and people get so offended when they say your mom. Why do you get so offended when people say your mom? They didn't say anything about your mom. They just said your mom, right? Did they say anything about your mom? No, but then we get so offended. You said my mom. My mom what? They didn't even say a sentence. They said a phrase, right? For all you know, they don't know how to speak properly. But for us, we get so offended by that because of the love that we have for our mother, right? And we should have that love, right? That love should be there. Rasulullah ﷺ is talking about having a similar love for our brothers and our sisters. Now that's easier if you're thinking, okay, I have the younger brother, I have the younger sister, but we're not talking about blood. We're talking about the brothers and sisters in this room right now. Having that sense of love for the brothers in this room, the sisters in the school, for yourselves. Now we're in a different picture, because we're thinking, okay, it's not family anymore. Family is easy to love, right? But what does the beginning of the hadith say? None of you will truly believe. None of you will truly believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. Saying, oh, I believe in Allah, I believe in the Prophet. I know these things. I know about the 5 pillars. We know a lot of things, which is good. We're in a very informational era. We have Google. We have a lot of resources. We know a lot. We come to school. We have good education. But what do we do with that knowledge? That's the second part. So yeah, I know all these things about Islam, but do I really believe in it? And I want to paint you a picture of what it really means to believe in something. If I were to ask you guys that, hey, are you going to go home? Are you going to have dinner tonight? You can all say that, you can attest that I believe I will have dinner tonight, right? Inshallah. And and keep in mind there are people who will not have dinner tonight as well, right? No matter how much they want to. And may Allah protect them and give them their needs that they need. But for us, we can say, I believe I'm going to have dinner tonight. Why? Because I've had dinner every night for the past year, or the past 13 years, or 14 years, or 15 years, or 16 years, right? But if I were to say, did you guys have lunch today? Did you guys have lunch today? Well, hopefully you guys had lunch today. If you had lunch today, right? Let's pretend you guys all had lunch today. You went to lunch and you had lunch. Then you would say, yeah, I agree to that. I did have lunch today. The difference is between the lunch and the dinner is the dinner didn't arrive yet. So even though you're feeling so strong about it, you really don't believe in it because it can be taken away from you. But the lunch, you've had it. You believe in it. It's inside of you. You've already digested the food, right? That's the difference between just saying you believe, like, oh, I'm going to have dinner, versus truly believing, no, I had lunch. I know I had lunch. I don't know if you guys understood that analogy, but that's the way of saying that you truly believe. Rasulullah saying that you will truly believe only when this happens. Now, this talk is about brotherhood. When Tasdeeq asked me, what do you want to talk about? I thought about when I was in high school, and one of the biggest things that comes up is, to be very frank, is arrogance and pride and cliques and drama and all of those things, right? And what that ends up doing is that it breaks the brotherhood. It breaks the sisterhood. And you end up switching and mixing up, and you have all these groups, and you're thinking, oh man, I thought he was my friend, I thought she was my friend, and all these questions come about. You're like, oh, this person's being fake, oh, this person lied to me. All these things happen in high school. And you think everything is flashing through your eyes when really you're just 17 years old and you haven't done much in your life yet, right? You didn't even start your life. But we think we've done so much, right? We think we've done so much. So that's why I said, you know what? Let's talk about brotherhood and let's talk about sisterhood, because we need to come back to the main focus, the focus for us to unite, for brothers to come together and for sisters to come together. And that's what we'll be discussing today, inshallah. Now, I need to pull up the ayahs real quick because I don't have the translation memorized, but real quickly I'm going to translate the ayahs that I asked my brother to recite today, which he did beautifully. Jazakallah khair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat, is, O you who believe, neither should men mock other men, meaning guys shouldn't make fun of guys. It may be that those are better than they, meaning the guy you're making fun of, he might be better than you. Nor should women mock other women, meaning girls shouldn't make fun of girls. It may be that these are better than they. Same thing, meaning that girl you're making fun of might be better than you. And do not insult one another among yourselves. That's pretty self-explanatory. Nor call one another by bad nicknames. By nicknames, not bad nicknames, by nicknames. Bad is the name of disobedience after faith, and whoever does not repent, then it is those who are the wrongdoers. Then you have the next ayah is, O who you believe, avoid suspicion. What does that mean? Meaning don't have so much doubt. Don't start saying things like, oh, I bet this person did this. You know what? And it continues on to saying, indeed some suspicions are sins. Meaning sometimes when we doubt other people, we end up sinning because of the degree of doubt we're putting on them, because of the degree of accusation we're putting on them. We're accusing of them of a great sin like lying. We think lying is something small and common, but it's a big sin. So to accuse someone of this is a great accusation. So it might be that when we are in doubt of someone, we might be in sin in that situation. And then it finally ends off by saying, and I'm sure you guys have heard of this before, and do not spy, nor should one of you backbite one another. Would any among you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? You would hate it. And fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah is the acceptor of repentance, all merciful. What does that mean? It means that don't backbite. What does backbite mean? Meaning don't talk trash about other people. Don't make up stuff about other people. Don't spread rumors. Don't slander. What is slander? What does slander mean?
Falsely accusing somebody.
Yeah, falsely making up false statements about someone else, right? straight up lying. Don't do any of that. And then Allah says, well, would you like to eat the flesh of your brother? We cannot even eat cooked meat without salt. Right? Think about that. We cannot even eat cooked meat without salt. This is talking about, would you want to eat the flesh of your brother or your sister in the situation? So that's and Allah says, before, it's a rhetorical question because He answers it. He says, you would hate it. Allah is answering for us. He said, you would hate it. You wouldn't want that. And then He says, well, Allah is the most accepting of repentance and He's the forgiving, He's the merciful. Meaning that if you did do those things, if you did mess up, if you did lie, if you did backbite, if you did gossip, if you did spread rumors, if you did slander, all of those things, then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. Ask Him to forgive you and don't do it again. Or do your best not to do it again. The thing is, backbiting is not an addiction. It's something we end up falling in. It's not something where someone has a gambling addiction. You know what I mean? It's not like you need alcohol AAA. You don't need Alcoholics Anonymous. You don't need that. It's not like drinking. You don't get addicted to it. So you can literally stop when you want to stop. There's no excuse to say, I tried to stop, but my heart was telling me I have to talk bad about him, so I have to talk bad. There's nothing like that, right? You can't make up that. There's no excuse. I mean, even then, no excuse justifies a sin, right? We shouldn't justify our sins by saying, but I'm so weak. Everybody's weak. To say that you're special and you're something extra, you're not. I'm not. No one is. So we shouldn't justify our sins. When we mess up, we have to be straight up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Allah, I messed up. It was my fault. I made a mistake. I'm asking for your forgiveness. Please forgive me. And I won't do this again. I'll do my best not to do this again. And because we do this, we have a lack of brotherhood. Because if we were to just speak the truth and hold back the harsh truth at times, then we would have so much unity between the brothers. We would have so much unity between the Muslim brothers. By brothers, I'm not saying just the class of, just the freshman class or just the sophomore class, but the senior class. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about all the Muslim brothers that you see in your school. And for the sisters, all the Muslim sisters in the school. Keep that in mind. It should be that you're all in one community here in Castech. Right? Please keep that in mind. You're not separated by grades. You're not separated by intelligence. You're not separated by anything. In fact, rather, you are connected by the Shahada. That's what you're connected by. You're all connected by the Shahada. The testimony that Allah is the only one worthy of worship. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, was the last and the final messenger. That's what you're connected by. Another thing I want to mention in terms of environment, before I came here, I was talking to my friend at the university, and I was telling him about the topic, and he was telling me about how his dad told him that as he grew up, his dad told him, you know what? Tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. That's what his dad told him as he grew up. He said, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. And that's the easiest way to figure out who someone really is. Because it says in the hadith that a believer is a mirror for a believer. Meaning that if you're hanging out with this same person all the time, you're going to end up following this person's habits. You're both going to end up doing the same things. Everyone's like, that's my best friend, that's my best friend. And we do everything together. Why do you think we do everything together? It's not that, we like exactly the same things and like this was destiny. No, it's not that. You start hanging out with people and then you're just like, this is what I do. Well, this is what I do. I'm like, I guess I could do that. Yeah, I don't mind doing this. And you end up doing everything together. You become like the other person and vice versa. Now, is that a bad thing or a good thing? Depends on what?
Yourself as a person. Like if the other person is bad and like you're not into that habits that they're into, they can influence you to
Bad influence.
But it could be vice versa where you're not as bad as them and you bring them towards your other goals. It depends on the person.
So it depends on the person. It depends on both people. It depends on every individual in that group, right? Sometimes it's not just two people. It's a group of people, right? So even if there's, what does it say? They have this phrase, right? You're as strong as your weakest link, right? You are as strong as your weakest link. So it doesn't mean get rid of your weakest link. It means strengthen your weakest link. So if someone in your group is a weaker link, make him stronger, make her stronger. Help him, help her. It doesn't mean you should feel arrogant about yourself to say, hey, I'm the stronger link. It's not like that. Because once again, do not mock men, should not mock other men because he might be better than you. Keeping that in mind, we say, let me try to help him out because he's probably helped me in ways I don't even understand. Sometimes we help people just by being with them. Sometimes we help people just by being with them. Sometimes we help each other just by being in a room at 3:45, 4 o'clock, instead of being outside doing other things. Listening to a lecture about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know this, and if you don't know this, you'll know it now, that whenever there's a group that comes together to discuss Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to discuss deen, to discuss Islam, angels surround them, and angels rile up one on stacks all the way up to the heavens, going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying that these people, and angels will name each and every single one of us, that this person, this person, this person, him, her, him, they were all there at this congregation, and they were praising you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though none of you guys are talking. Because you guys are listening. Because you guys are listening. Imagine the angels right now at this very moment saying your name to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making dua for you. Because you're here, because you sacrificed, because you said, you know what, I'm going to give a few minutes. Even though I have exams in 2 days, even though I'm not fully ready yet, even though I could be studying right now, I'm going to give my time, just some of my time, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for some of us, we might not be here for that. We might be here for the wrong intention. We might just come here because we want to chill, because our ride isn't here until later on. We might be here because our boys are here. We might be here for many reasons. We might be here for the wrong intention. So how do you rectify that? Because you're thinking, oh man, is my name being mentioned in the heavens right now? Is my name being mentioned? Well, there's a hadith that says that a man who passed by a group of people talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even his name was mentioned. Because he was near the group, right? And how do you rectify intention? Well, the thing about intention in Islam is that you can change it at any moment. That's why it's so good, and that's why it can be very harmful at the same time. Because you can start an action saying, I'm going to have good intention, right? I'm going to do this for Allah. You start off, you're doing great. Then somewhere in the middle, you have a different intention. Let me give you an example. You start praying, right? You're in the masjid, let's say, or you're at home. You start praying, and you're praying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then an auntie comes in the house, right? Or an uncle comes in the masjid, right? Somebody else enters the room. They're like, oh, mashallah, look at him, he's praying. Or look, mashallah, look at her, she's praying. And you hear that. So what do? You end up elongating your prayer. You end up praying longer. You end up standing longer. You end up perfecting your ruku'. You end up doing everything perfect. Because that person is watching you. Your entire intention is destroyed. Right? And it could be the opposite too. It could be the opposite, where you come to this meeting for the completely wrong reason, and then you hear this narration, you hear a hadith, and you're saying, you know what, I want my name to be mentioned right now. I'm going to purify my intention, and you can do that. Right now I'm going to say, Ya Allah, I'm doing this for you. From this second moving forward, I'm doing this for you. I'm going to sit here, listen to the rest of this talk for your sake, and only your sake. And Allah will reward you just for that. Because Allah is the most merciful. We just heard that in the ayah. Allah is the most merciful. So, going back to environment, and you have to forgive me because I go on tangents often because I feel like it's necessary at times. Going back to environment, we have to do two things. One, we have to pick the right people, and two, we have to get rid of the wrong people. Pick the right people and get rid of the wrong people. Does that mean brotherhood should disunite? No. But it means that if there's someone who keeps dragging you down, if because of this one specific person, you keep slacking in your homework, you keep skipping classes, because of this one person, you keep staying up late, because of this one person that's messing up your sleep schedule, all of these things, because of this one person, that person is bringing you down. Stop letting him or her bring you down. Don't do that. So that's when you have to let go. Does that mean you stop talking to them? Like cold turkey, you cut everything off? No, you don't do that. But you create your distance. You don't have to be like, hey bro, you're really messing me up right now in dunya. I'm trying to go to Jannah, like don't do this. You don't have to do all that. That's not what you have to do. But you take your own measures, right? Because I'm not saying make up lies, but if let's say the guy or the girl is telling you, right, for brothers and sisters, let's go do something tonight or let's do something tomorrow, whatever. You have legitimate excuses. I want to go to sleep on time. I need to finish my homework. My exam's coming up. If not, and if you have free time, then my question is, what are you doing with your free time? If you're saying, man, no, I finished everything, right? I literally have no excuse to give him. I'm like, that's good. Then what excuse did I give to Allah that you're spending your time doing nothing? Why don't you pick up a hobby? Why don't you read a book? Why don't you go do something in your community? Why don't you give back to the community that's giving you so much? Right? Why don't you volunteer at school? Why don't you go help the people who don't have dinner tonight? Why don't you do any of that? What excuse do we have to say that, oh no, I'm free? Usually you hear people say, I'm busy, but now you hear people say, I'm free. What are you free from? What am I free from to say that, oh, I have so much time on my hand that it's just, oh, I'm relaxing. You can be one, like I have, mashallah, met many smart people through high school and college, right? And there are guys and girls who will just sit in class, they don't have to take any notes, right? They just listen, boom, done, they'll get an end of the exam. They don't have to study. Like I have this one friend, he thought about his final exam in the shower. He told me, he's like, I was thinking about it in the shower, and then it kind of made sense, and then I came and took it. And mashallah, like he's very smart, non-Muslim, but he's very smart, right? Some people are like that, but he has a lot of time in his hand. You know what he does? He reads textbooks that's not related to the course. He'll read other textbooks that's not related to the course itself, right? So he finds something to do with his time. So I'm saying even if you go to that caliber where you can just chill and get A's, right? A's are really easy to get, whatever. And if you're not getting A's, you should be striving towards A's. Then make that time, take that time to make it beneficial to you. If you don't know how to read the Quran, start somewhere. Start somewhere. You're thinking, oh man, I'm 14 years old, I'm 15 years old. I have friends who are huffaz, who memorize the Quran. I don't even know how to read Arabic, right? It's too late for me. It's not. Think about the companions, peace be upon, may Allah be pleased with them all, that they became companions at the age of 40, 50, 60, and then Quran came down upon them, and then they started memorizing. You're not even 20 yet. What makes you think you're so old? What makes you think it's so late? What makes you think you can't start right now? What makes you think you can't do alif, ba, ta, sa right now? What's stopping you? You are. We are the only ones who limit ourselves. So keep that in mind. So when you have that free time, take advantage. Give back somehow. Give back, and if you give back to something positive, it's always going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever you give back, it goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you have the right intention, like I mentioned earlier. So when it comes to getting rid of bad friends, you got to have that approach. Make yourself so busy you don't have time for them. Point number 2, how to make good friends. Good friends are easier to find than getting rid of bad friends. What I mean by that is this. When you come across good people, when you come across good friends, automatically you'll see your behavior change, and vice versa with bad friends, right? You'll see yourself not saying specific words. You'll see yourself limiting from looking in certain directions. You'll see the topic that you're discussing change itself, right? With some guys, you're talking about this. With some girls, you're talking about this. But with others, it's completely different, right? Think about all the conversations we have with your friends. Think of one friend that at least once reminded you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once this entire semester. Keep that friend. If you don't have that friend, find that friend. Even if it's that one guy that everybody's friends with, be friends with that one guy, then everybody will remind each other. It'll work out that way, right? You just need one person to help grow the crowd, move the crowd. So when you want to look for good friends, think of someone who will at least remind you of Allah somehow. Remind you of the Prophet somehow, peace be upon him. And if not, fine, they don't remind you of Allah, they remind you of the Prophet, at least they take you away from everything bad. Because if you have someone showing you at least an inch of evil, an inch of bad deeds, then that takes you away from everything. So you want someone at least either have neutral friends or have good friends. And with the bad friends, become so busy you can't hang out with them. That's how we have to fashion our lifestyles. That's how we have to figure out how to live as a Muslim brother, as a Muslim sister. Now, the next point is, I was going to ask real quickly, because I mentioned this earlier, right? There are drama, right? But there might not be drama sometimes, right? So if you guys have any feedback, what kind of issues are there in high school at this moment? Does anyone have to go ahead?
I mean, basically, how it always was, there's a lot of drama between males and females, crazy amount, and then there's a crazy amount of, friends trending against each other, backbiting, wherever you go. Everything that's been around is still around.
Yeah, that's because humans have the same nature, right? And it's not just because you're in high school. You'll see adults doing the same thing too. So don't worry, you're not alone, but you should worry because you're all together. So keep in mind that we have these same problems that come up, but another problem comes up too, which is self-esteem, right? So you have two kinds of people in high school, right? And maybe in life. Those who are super confident and those who are not confident at all, right? We have those who are super confident, but really they don't have anything to show. But they just feel so good about themselves. Like, man, I am the man. Like, I'm walking in here, but no one really cares about the guy. You know what I mean? And then you have the people who are thinking like, man, does anyone even recognize me? Does anyone even notice me? Does anyone even care about me? Do my friends even actually consider me? Do they acknowledge me? But if you go ask his friends or her friends, they'll say this guy is amazing. They're not aware of it, right? In high school, self-esteem is one of the biggest issues that lead to drama. Self-esteem is one of the biggest issues that lead to drama. Why? Because let's say you have low self-esteem for a second, and someone makes fun of you. Now you feel attacked, right? You feel attacked by that overly confident person who made fun of you. And that overly confident person, he or she is feeding off you feeling attacked. What am I describing in this situation? A bully. I'm describing the situation of a bully, right? This happens very often, not just in high school, in middle school, elementary school. It kind of simmers down in college because people don't really care enough to be with one another talking about these things. But in high school, it's very prominent. Bullying, it's very important. And you know what bullying does? It disunites brothers and it disunites sisters. You'll even have brothers bullying sisters and sisters bullying brothers, right? How does it all happen? Is there like back in the days like, oh, give me your lunch money? It's not like that. It's all verbal. And nowadays, it's all digital. What do I mean by that? Comments on social media, right? Comments on social media. Let's say you post a picture, and then someone comments negatively. That happens so often. How is it that you continue to be this person's friend when this same person makes a bad comment about a picture you cared enough to post, to share with everybody? Do you know how sad that seems on your end? To allow this person to continue being your friend? To say that, oh yeah, he's just joking. Oh yeah, she's just joking. Right? Well, if he or she is joking, then that's a joke to them, and you're not laughing, then that's not really a joke. See, when someone says a joke, everyone laughs. Like at the few of the corny jokes I made earlier, people laughed at that. That's a joke. It wasn't like someone was like, oh man, I'm so offended by that. That didn't happen. So when there's a joke taking place, people enjoy it. But when there's an insult taking place, only one or two people enjoy it. And one person or two people or maybe a group of people might be feeling offended by that. So how does that relate to brotherhood? How does that relate to sisterhood? It's our responsibility to look after our brothers. It's our responsibility to look after our sisters. One of the most important things you can have in high school, in life in general, is a support system. You need a support system. There are kids who come to school, keep this in mind, and the only support system they have is the one here, because when they go back home, they have abusive parents or parents who neglect them. Just because you don't have those parents don't mean other people do not. There are kids who literally come to school, where people hate coming to school, as their safe haven. Because at least here, they're not getting yelled at, they're not getting cursed at, they're not getting hit at. But then, right when they come here, they come to these people they call their friends, and these same people, these same brothers, these same sisters are the same ones that put them down. And then where is this kid gonna go next? He's gonna go home, and he's gonna get put down even more. By his own parents, his own siblings. This happens, it's common. It's not like, oh, that doesn't happen to anybody, that's just, oh, it's a random story he's saying. No, it's common. So you got a bully at school, you got a bully at home, you got a bully everywhere, and the same kids you see at school, the same kids in your neighborhood, so you can't even hang out with them after school. How is this brotherhood? If anything, we should be concerned, because none of you, I doubt, none of you know about what really goes on in someone else's house. Because you never ask about that. We're so concerned with, wait, what are we doing after? Hey, you want to go here? Hey, you want to do this? What happens after that? How did they get here? He didn't make it to the program? What happened? He couldn't come? What happened? Anyone ask that? Why couldn't he come? Did anything happen with him and his family? Is everyone okay? It doesn't mean go and poke your nose in everyone's business, right? It says do not spy in the ayah, if you guys remember. But it means have concern, have genuine, sincere love for your brothers, have genuine, sincere love for your sisters. When you see someone making fun of somebody, be like, yo, I'm going to be straight up with you, you shouldn't be doing that. And you'll see that overly confident guy just shut up. Because no one ever spoke back to him before. He's like, whoa, what just happened? You know what I mean? And this happens. It's all psychology. Literally, it's all psychology. Even though I'm not a psych major, I'm telling you it's all psychology, and I hope it is. If not, you guys can correct me. But it really is. Self-esteem changes everything. So if you see someone who might have low self-esteem, help that person out. If you see someone with high self-esteem, calm that person down. You know what I mean? And if you think you cannot find anybody, then think about your self-esteem. Where are you at? We should be moderate, right? We should be humble when we have accomplishments, right? We should be humble when we have. It shouldn't mean that, oh, I'm the best thing that ever happened to Cast. I did so much. I got so many scholarships. Like, no one cares. No one asks me what high school I went to. They care about what university I'm going to. But when I graduate, no one's going to ask me that. They're going to ask, where do you work? No one cares about what's happening right now. You know how you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, what am I going to wear? Am I going to be matching? Am I wearing the same pants? Am I wearing the same shirt? Who's going to notice? What are they going to say? We're going to be at lunch. They're going to see me. No one cares. You're the only one who's focused on yourself. And just like you, all your friends are doing the same exact thing. And they're all thinking, oh my God, they're going to notice. Why do you think kids take the time to notice other people's clothing? Why do you think kids comment on what brand they're wearing? Why do you think that comes into, how did that even come to their head? Because they're so self-conscious about it to begin with. They're so self-conscious about their own clothing, their own appearance, external appearance to other people that they're thinking that, man, what are they going to think? Let me turn the attention away from me to that guy over there. Let me turn the attention away from me to that guy over there or that girl over there. Because I don't want to deal with that. Right? And let me, and I know my parents are struggling. I know my parents have bills to pay, but I want to look cool, so I want to go buy this expensive clothing. I want to go buy this expensive shoes. You know what? It'll be just this one time. At least I'll look cool, I'll look popular. And you're wasting your parents' money. And they're working hard for it. You come to school and you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired when I go home. I've been at school from 8 to 5 thinking. You've been at school 8 to 5 thinking. Do you guys do physical labor here? I hope not. But there are parents who work in factories. There are parents doing physical labors. They do a lot more thinking than we ever do. How tired are they? And they come home and they're looking at us, and they're looking at us like we are their only hope in America for them to move on and become and improve. And then we say, can I have some more money? Because I want to go out with my friends. Can I have some more money? Because I want to buy this. Can I do this? Can I do that? Right? Can I have more money while I go out while you clean the house? Right? Because that's not your job, right? That's how we end up thinking sometimes with our parents. And we shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't be like that. Remember how I said earlier that about the love that you have for your mother and father? Remember at the beginning I mentioned that? And I said in today's time we shun them. This is what I was talking about. This shunning right here, that's what I was talking about. So when it comes to, where did we start from? Picking the right people, right? And then we went to what? Environment and drama. We went to self-esteem. All these things come together. And this all comes in a big picture of brotherhood and sisterhood. If you don't support your friends truly, if you truly do not believe, you truly will not want for your brother what you want for yourself. If you don't want to get bullied, you don't want to get insulted, you don't want to feel embarrassed, why are you doing that to him? Why are you doing that to her? Why? What do you get out of it? Did you get money out of it? Are you on a comedy show? What's happening? None of that is happening. And then, out of everybody in here, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, you won't even be attending the same college. You might move to a different state. So many things could change. Like I mentioned earlier, life changes so much, right? I was at a point where I didn't come to Castech MSA. Now I'm giving a talk at Castech MSA. Do you guys see how important it is to have brotherhood? How important it is to have sisterhood? Right? Keep this in mind as we are almost close to finishing. We're almost done. I think the food will be here soon as well, inshallah. The last thing I want to talk about is I mentioned the brotherhood and I mentioned the sisterhood, right? So here's a tough part that comes into question. Well, what if I'm a brother and there's a sister? How does that come into play? Right? This entire time he's been talking about brotherhood, he's been talking about sisterhood, right? Is there like a bristerhood? No, there isn't. There's no bristerhood. But there is a sense of responsibility for Muslims amongst themselves in general, for brothers and sisters. So it means that if you were to see a sister get bullied, if a sister were to see a brother get bullied, they should step in for that. You shouldn't be like, oh my God, opposite gender, let me run away. Like, no. No. No one does that when you have a crush on somebody. Why do you do that when you have the responsibility to take on? You know what I mean? If you have actual responsibility to be held accountable for, man up, woman up. Do what you're supposed to do. Step up and try to stop it. Help one another. We should not let our own brothers and our own sisters, right, feel intimidated. We should not let our brothers and sisters feel like they're not worth much, because they are. We have the most valuable things. On the day of judgment, the most valuable thing, the heaviest thing that will weigh on the scale is the shahada. And we all have that. So how can we say we have no value? And in that case, you don't talk about, oh my God, opposite gender interaction, I can't deal with that. Like, yes, then you have other guys who are like, forget that, like I'm into everything. Like, no, there's a moderate path. There's a moderate path. We're a moderate nation. You remain respectful. Doesn't mean you have to like look at her like this or whatever, or like look at him like that. It doesn't mean any of that. You remain respectful. You remain approachable. You handle the situation and you move forward. Right? Last thing about gender interaction, when it comes to, let's say, homework, group study, all of that, you don't need to be with the opposite gender to do that. There are enough guys in your class. Let's say there's only 2 Muslims, you and that girl. Fam, you don't need a girl at that point. You don't need a Muslim at that point. You just need any guy. Don't be like, oh, but we're the only Muslims. Muslims need to be together. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. You know? Don't think like that. Think in the sense that, you know what, there are so many guys, and the girl should think there are so many girls, I can partner up with anybody. You have a homework question, she's the smartest girl in the class. Okay, let me go ask her. No, the teacher, he's smarter. He's teaching the class. Ask him. Or ask her. Like, what excuse are you looking for yourself? Hey, did you do the homework? I didn't do it. Oh, let's talk about how we didn't do the homework. Like, what? You both didn't do it. That should be the end of the conversation. Then you start having the conversation extend, elongate, and it leads to something else. And that's how you end up having a bad company. You could be a really good person, she could be a really good person. But when you two come together, you have shaitan with you, the worst of man, or worst of creation. Think about that. You have 2 good people and the worst of creation. Who do you think is going to win? The worst of creation. Because you're not the best of creation. Who's the best of creation? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So, for us, we have to be okay. We have to think moderately, to think that, you know what? I have to respect my boundaries, respect his or her boundary, move forward, maintain situations when I need to. Otherwise, handle my own thing. Handle my own thing. And that's also how you become independent as well. So respect one another, take care of one another, right? Engage with one another when you need to. Engage with one another to help one another. Sincerely help, not homework help, sincerely help. Plus you have Google. Sincerely help, right? And with that, I hope I was able to show you guys the importance that it is needed to have brotherhood, the importance of sisterhood, right? For example, let's say we don't have a lot of sisters in here. If there's, for example, let's not all look at her, let's look at me, but think about what I'm saying. If there's only one sister in here, right, we should be cognizant. Are we making her feel uncomfortable? How are we sitting? What's our sitting style looking like? If we're all scattered, where is she gonna sit, right? Second question, why aren't other sisters here? Are we making them nervous to come here? Are we doing something on our end as guys that's making the sisters not come here? Is it our fault? Always ask first, is it our fault? Is it my fault? Before you start accusing something, right? Before you start saying, oh man, sisters are not active at all. Can't say that. How much effort did you put to inviting sisters here, right? Always think, is it my fault? Is it our fault? Are we doing something? Do we have shortcomings? And then after that say, okay, you know what? We've done everything we can. Make dua and leave it. Still don't point fingers. Still don't point fingers. So we should be cognizant of that. And you should say, you know what? I know somebody, you know what? I might make a Facebook page with MSA. I might make something, social media page with MSA. Let people know so then they can come. So then maybe I benefit, I want them to benefit. Right? Maybe make a class announcement. Whatever it is. There's so many ways to get the word out. Right? So for us, remember, this is a way of how we maintain ourselves as Muslim men and women. In society, in school, when there's a lot of opposite gender interaction, we have to know how to handle that. Right? We don't want to be all like socially awkward. And if you are socially awkward, then acknowledge that. Acknowledge you are socially awkward and work towards it. And if you see someone who's socially awkward and they cannot work towards it, help them. That's where brotherhood comes in again. Right? Someone who's socially awkward, if you start talking to them and you start becoming their friend and you bring them to a friendly environment, you'll see them open up. You'll see them open up, but you never invited them. That's on you. That's on you. That's on me for not taking that initiative, right? So keep in mind as you guys move throughout your high school years, from freshman to senior year, deciding what college you're going to go to, if you're going to go to college, what you're going to pursue, all of these things. Keep in mind the idea of brotherhood. Keep in mind the idea of sisterhood. Keep in mind the idea of respecting one another, of loving one another, and to say that, you know what, I really do want goodness for this person, right? You know how it will be like, something good will happen, like someone won't have an exam or they'll get extra credit, something like that. We'll be like, oh man, we didn't get anything. Wrong reaction. You should say, I'm glad you guys got it. I'm glad you guys got it. I'm happy for you. We have the reaction, oh man, oh you guys got school off today, we don't, oh man. No, be happy for them, because wouldn't you want school off? You just said, oh man, why did you say, oh man? Because you wanted school off, right? So be happy for them, oh at least you guys got it, that's good. You guys can relax now. That's having love for your brother and sister, as an example of it. With that, before I conclude, I want to ask, do we have any questions? Any general questions, whatever it is? Yeah.
Is this the situation in college as well? Doesn't get better.
Situation to what?
Like how I was talking about the issues earlier, like about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he asked, are the situations in high school, do they remain the same when you go to college? It depends. So with college, you have diverse, like huge diversity. There's a huge diversity in college. You meet all sorts of people. Right now, here, let's do this. How many people are not Bengali? 1, 2. And look at where they're sitting too. I'm not putting you on the spot, Habibi, listen to me. What I'm saying is this is an issue with you guys. You see what I mean? This is an issue with you guys. Why is it that the only non-Bengalis are sitting to the side by themselves? Why aren't they not in the middle? Why aren't they scattered? Why aren't they feeling as comfortable with the rest of you guys? Now it's not nothing to laugh about. It's an issue on you guys. You guys should reflect on that. Right? There's not a lot of diversity here. If you're from Hamtramck, Detroit, there's not a lot of diversity there in terms of like the people you come across. Bengalis always hang out with Bengalis. But when you go to college, and depending on the college you go to, you can have a huge amount of diversity. Right? From Ann Arbor, it's crazy diversity. Dearborn is somewhat diverse. Wayne State is all Bengalis again. But no, they have diversity as well. Don't worry. But it depends on who you pick, because in college, right, you get this fresh start if you take it. You can keep everything the same and be like with the same clique and the same group and be the same major and go all together. Or you can say, you know what, I want to start fresh and I want to try different things and I want to be with different people and I want to be respectful. I want to make myself better. So you can avoid the situations. It doesn't have to be the same. For me, it wasn't the same at all in college versus high school. It doesn't have to be the same for you either. Anything else? If not, I'd like to conclude. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك جزاك الله خير.